They say every gem has a story, but few shimmer with as much beauty and as much blood as the Hope Diamond, a jewel so mesmerizing that anyone who gazes into its deep blue glow swears it hides a secret. Older than empires, and as the legend goes, a curse darker than midnight itself, beginning centuries ago in the hot, dust-swirled markets of India, where a French merchant named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier first laid eyes on a massive, uncut blue stone, said to be pried from the brow of a sacred idol of the Hindu goddess, stolen by hands greedy enough to ignore the warnings whispered in temple halls. And when Tavernier purchased it and carried it across continents, his fortunes soared briefly before crumbling into tragedy, his family torn apart by illness, his wealth vanishing, and his own life ending somewhere alone and impoverished, marking the first of many who would taste the jewel's cold wrath, cut and reshaped into the famed French blue. The diamond dazzled at the court of King Louis XIV, where courtiers murmured that its brilliance outshone even the sun, but the king, believing himself untouchable, wore it as a symbol of divine power until revolution rattled the palace walls, and the once glorious monarch met his fate beneath the gleaming blade of the guillotine, while the diamond mysteriously vanished into the chaos, only to resurface decades later in London, smaller, and pulsing with a new name. The Hope Diamond, after the wealthy banking family who acquired it, though for them the stone brought nothing but ruin, as Henry Philip Hope's once vast fortune dwindled until his heirs were swallowed by bankruptcy, fighting bitterly over the gem like starving wolves, their lives shredded by the same jewel they cherished. From there, the Hope Diamond drifted through the hands of collectors, singers, and socialites, each more glamorous than the last. But the shadow that followed it only grew heavier. There was Jacques Khalid, the Dutch jeweler who supposedly went mad and ended his life after working with the stone. Princess de Lambagie, close friend to Marie Antoinette, who wore it once before being ripped apart by a mob during the revolution. And the Turkish Sultan, Abdul Hamid II, whose reign collapsed into violence, betrayal, and assassination attempts shortly after adding the diamond to his treasury, with several members of his household dying under strange circumstances, making the Hope seem less like a jewel and more like an omen wrapped in sapphire fire. And while skeptics laughed at the curse, collectors kept mysteriously falling into ruin until the diamond reached one of its most tragic owners, the American heiress, Evelyn Walsh McLean, who thought herself immune to superstition and bought the gem as a joke, proud to wear what others feared, but her laughter would not last long. Her young son died in a freak accident. Her daughter succumbed to illness at just 25. Her husband spiraled into madness and infidelity before losing their fortune, and Evelyn herself spent her final years wandering alone through the echoing halls of her empty mansion, clutching the diamond as though it were the only friend she had left. After her death, famed jeweler Harry Winston purchased the Hope Diamond and, in an act that puzzled everyone, decided not to keep it locked away but to donate it to the Smithsonian Institution, where it sits today behind thick glass, glowing like a trapped star under museum lights. And though Winston shipped it by ordinary simple brown package with a few dollars, postage perhaps hoping to break the pattern of glamorous misfortune, even this strange journey added another eerie chapter. When the mail carrier who delivered it soon suffered a car crash and a long string of misfortunes that fueled whispers that the curse was still alive. Scientists have since studied the gem and discovered that its unearthly blue glow comes from trace amounts of boron and its phosphorescent red flash under ultraviolet light, a fiery pulse that looks unsettlingly like a heartbeat, as though the diamond itself were alive, watching, remembering, deciding who to bless or who to destroy in. While geologists insist that the tale of a curse is nothing more than myth wrapped in coincidence, visitors who stand before the gem often speak of an inexplicable chill, as if something ancient stirs within its core, a force carved long before human hands ever touched it. And perhaps that sense of unease is why the Hope Diamond remains one of the most visited, most whispered about artifacts in the world, drawing millions with its siren call, promising beauty, while hinting just faintly at danger. For in the end, whether cursed or simply unlucky, the Hope Diamond reminds us that power and tragedy often walk side by side, and that even the most perfect beauty can cast the longest shadow. And as long as the jewel continues to glow beneath museum lights, the world will keep wondering who is the true source of all that suffering. The stone itself, or the people who believed in its darkness, a belief so strong, so deep, that perhaps the curse was never in the diamond at all, but in us, in our fear, our greed, and our need to find meaning in misfortune. Yet even with such reasoning, one question lingers. Why does a chill run down the spine of nearly everyone who stands before it? And why does the Hope Diamond seem to stare back, silently daring its admirers to take it home and test the legend for themselves?